him. It's so many things that I could say about you, Aaron, but I'm gonna let Rob go ahead and say this. Go ahead, Rob. Tell him about Aaron Rodgers.
So, in case you guys didn't know, there's a quarterback named Aaron Rodgers who's been in the league since what 2005, 2006,
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
And guys, I don't want to alarm you, or I don't want to basically say something that you guys never heard, you guys probably never felt, or anything like that. But Aaron Rodgers, in both me and Nate, in our eyes, probably one of the most miserable motherfuckers living right now, at least in the sports realm.
Definitely.
And we're gonna take a journey right why I think that. So if you guys remember the 2006 draft,
Yep.
or 2005 2006 draft, Aaron Rodgers. It was between Aaron Rodgers and it was between Alex Smith as far as who was going to be the number one pick, who was going to be the first quarterback taken, all of that. Like it was between them. Kind of similar where it was years prior with Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning. Um, like who are you going to take? They both seem about the same. Who are you going to take? Who is going to be your guy for the next forever? Aaron Rodgers being the California kid, being the guy that went to Cal, all of that. It was like, boom, slam dunk. San Francisco 49ers going to be the first overall picker? Like, it's a foregone conclusion. I mean, granted, Alex Smith was great at Utah. Got Urban Meyer basically out of there and off to Florida, where he won national championships.
Hmm.
All of this happened, and Aaron Rodgers is sitting there as Alex Smith is sitting there. They call the pick. Mission Tagliabue comes up. What happens? He says that the 49ers pick Alex Smith with the number one overall pick. Now, granted, you know that draft is still going on. Other teams are picking. Other teams are picking. Like, let's pull up that draft to basically talk about like some of the other people that you had available that Aaron Rodgers essentially, was passed up for. So like you have guys by the name of, you know, let me just pull it up right quick because I lost it. Yeah, Alex Smith going number one.
Yep.
And then that number two, you got Ronnie Brown,
Hmm.
And then number three are Braylon Edwards, Cedric Benson, number five, Tampa Bay picking Cadillac Williams. You
Oh,
guys remember those Auburn teams. You guys remember all that. All of these players picked before Aaron Rodgers.
yes.
All Troy Williamson, Viking legend. Like a lot of guys picked right before Aaron
DeMarcus
Rodgers.
Ware, Derek Johnson,
Marcus Ware, Derek
Travis,
Johnson, David Pollock,
Marcus Spears, one of the people who's on ESPN now, and
Swagoo.
Swagoo.
But you had Aaron Rodgers sitting there with a dumb look on his face, like, what is going on? Why am I not being picked? Till they get to number 24. And now you have Aaron Rodgers being selected by the Green Bay Packers, who already had Brett Favre that was sitting right there as the quarterback. Never missed a game, just always there for every single game. Aaron Rodgers had to sit for years before he
Years
got his opportunity at the starting quarterback as the Green Bay
with
Packers.
the
And that was
clipboard.
with, Brett Favre essentially having his, may I not, I don't want to play, but I do want to play. Like all of that kind of going for him. And Aaron Rodgers had to sit there. Now, mind you, Aaron Rodgers coming out of high school was a three-star recruit. Not bad, not great. Aaron Rodgers had to went to the Green Bay Packers. Not the San Francisco 49ers was picking number one. Not these other teams that were picking through the top five. He had to go sit there and not play. Fast forward, Aaron Rodgers, becomes a starting quarterback, lights the world on fire, wins MVPs,
Mm,
wins, all these superlatives, wins a Super
mm.
Bowl with the Packers. We fast forward to the pandemic. Aaron Rodgers is walking the sideline without a mask.
Just nasty.
Aaron Rodgers basically just going as if everything is fine. Come to find out, never had the COVID vaccine.
Ever.
When asked, and granted, he was asked in the preseason why, or was he, Did he take the vaccine? He said he was immunized.
Mm,
No follow up, no nothing. Said he was immunized.
just lying on
Everybody went
us.
on their way. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers was trustworthy. Aaron Rodgers was the guy. He knew what he was talking about. He was the guy that would talk to Fauci. He was the guy that would, you know, have whatever he needed to play and fight the COVID vaccine because he's that kind of guy. He's too smart
He
to
would never
basically
Rudy
do
Gobert
anything.
us.
Not at all. He would not lie to us, but he did. And it's kind of more like the counter George Costanza lie, where it's not alive unless you believe it, unless you don't believe it, excuse me. Aaron Rodgers did what he felt like he needed to do for his body. And granted, I will say this, and I'll put my face to it. I understand where he was coming from because what he said was there was a protein that he saw that was found within the COVID vaccines that was going to conflict with his body, and he didn't feel as though that was good for him. Somebody, when it comes to your body, you have the right to say what goes in and doesn't go in it. I I'm a pro-choice person when it comes to what happens with your body.
Make your
Period.
goddamn choice.
Period. But he aired in a where I'm not with him is that he aired himself as some kind of I know what I'm doing and I'm going to basically go with the rules however I see fit. Because I understand you not wanting to put something in your body that you don't feel is comfortable for you. I'm also to the point of if they have a set structure of where if you choose not to do that, why don't you do it? Like if they're saying, "Hey, wear a mask on the sideline, wear a mask during a press conference," and you're like, "Well, no, I've already did what I needed to do. I took whatever it is that I thought was right for me." That ain't what they said, bro. That's not. It's plain on not. So you can be that, but no, you didn't do it right. And he evoked the name of Dr. Martin Luther King and so many others that essentially, is like, it's a happy or it's a good trouble, kind of thing. Like, no, no, you are not that. Saying that basically you immunize yourself, but you didn't actually do that in the way that they said you needed to do it, as if you're some kind of freedom fighter. No, you're not that, bro.
Lying
It's
in
not
the
that.
name of
It's not
Martin
that
Luther
deep.
King. Preposterous.
Just wrong. So fast forward to this year, Aaron Rodgers is gone in 5 snaps, 4 on the field, one in his body.
Mm,
He basically tore his Achilles right there on Monday Night Football, first game of the season, in front of everybody, in front of the world.
mm.
Now, fast forward even further to some like weeks later. Essentially, he's walking, he's on the field throwing, he's doing all these kind of things that kind of defy logic in a sense for how old he is
Mm-hmm.
and for like the injury that he had. And everybody made the jokes like, man, he came back and he was, had his leg up, he was just like ah, you know, like because he's hurt. He's injured. He has a year-long injury. Now, granted, there's been at least a guy that
Hey.
I could say came back from an Achilles. Yeah, Cam Akers.
Yep.
He did come back for Achilles. He tore his Achilles early in the preseason and then came back towards the end of the season. Cam Akers, when he did it, was in his early 20s, a age that you can recover a lot faster than what you would in your 40s or even late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron Rodgers looking at this whole I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back because they just had a report that he's gonna try to come back Christmas Eve, where it was mid December. Now it's Christmas Eve. And in all of these things, when you talk about the draft, when you talk about him playing behind Brett Favre, and when you're talking about COVID and his this Achilles, Aaron Rodgers lives a life of somebody that just wants to prove people wrong. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're saying that this can't happen or this is this way and that's all it can be, all he does is try to prove you wrong. And that, my friends, America, is fucking sad. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers has had amazing success
Amazing.
throughout the field.
All
He
over.
was a spokesperson basically until he went all, you know, uh, damn, Joe Rogan, take horse tranquilizer or whatever the fuck it is. Like he went all that and lost everything. Like everybody
All of it.
basically has him as some kind of, I don't say pariah because that's a little bit much, but but basically excommunicated from society.
Excommunicado.
Excommunicado. Like it's sad, dude. Like to live your life in just trying to prove people wrong. To say you guys said I can't come back from this, I'm gonna do it. That's not the way to live your life. Be
Mm-mm.
happy. Like I mean, granted, he was engaged to some young woman. He was dating Danica Patrick for forever. Like you've had some good times. Like why is it that you're wanting to basically just instead of just rolling the season because maybe what his thing is, and I've thought about it, like maybe what his thing is he wants to basically keep the ratings for the Jets games, some kind of thing. Like maybe he comes back, but it's not gonna be to where he's just gonna pop up today and basically suit up. He's
Mm-mm.
not gonna get cleared. Like him basically trying to do these things, A is for attention, and B is because he wants to be in your mind and in like every your consciousness to say, you are saying that I can't do this. I'm going to work my damnedest to where it's going to happen. And I've heard some people say, well, it's a win. He's in a win now mode and, he only has so many years. You know what's going to preserve those years? Healing correctly.
Sit
Like, you don't
your
hear
ass
Kirk Cousins
down.
thinking about, oh, man, I might come back for the playoffs. You don't hear Cam Akers coming saying, like, you know what? I might be back if the Vikings make the Super Bowl. You don't hear that.
At all.
You only are hearing, I'm trying to heal up. I'm trying to do the best I can. I might be around the guys, might not. But dude, sit your ass down. Aaron, look at me in the eyes, dude. We're both adults here. We're around friends. At least not like that, but still. You're a human being. You need to live your life better than what you're doing, dude. Stop trying to prove people wrong.
Live it the human way.
Your life is not shouldn't be built around that. Granted, people have naysayers. People have those that are just there to bring them ill will and not trying to have them succeed. But everybody wants you to succeed. Even through your shit, people still want you to succeed. I can't say that I do, but I'm just saying there's those that are out there. But thing about it is, dude, stop trying to live as though you're just trying to accomplish what don't even matter to others. They're not gonna basically stay with you. They're not gonna they gonna might pray for your downfall, but they're gonna move the fuck on faster than you are. You're sad, dude. Stop trying this. Sit up, lay back, heal, come back for next season, and stop trying to be a fucking detriment.
Yes.